Hey everybody, Team Ryder and Bluefin here, and we're doing a pretty cool survey to find out what your favorite super robots are. So we thought we would do a video where we just talk about our favorite super robots and our favorite real robots and which one we like more. So let's go ahead and start with you, Ken. What is your favorite between those two and why?
Don't you have to give me the loaded question right now?
Yes, yes, I
uh,
will.
it's man, it's like trying to give me a college textbook right now and try to break down the chapters for you. Uh, I think for me, like for my favorite super robot would be the Get a Robo series. Just considering that I remember seeing a trailer for Shin Get a Robo a long time ago in one of my older anime DVDs, and I just had to find a way to watch those, and just seeing that I fell in love with it based off of of growing up with Power Rangers and just seeing all the mechs just in action from there. I just grew to love that and just got lost in that world. Uh, so try my best to try to find as much merchandise for that, and just growing with that particular series. Real robots, I would have to say that it would be a tie between Patlabor and Full Metal Everything. But yeah, it's a really hard question to answer.
Super easy.
Very much.
All right, Anthony, what's your favorite between the two?
Well, for me, favorite super robot is gonna always be hands down the Gurren Lagann. Just because I feel personally that that series and that mecha truly defines what a super robot is, and that goes further beyond anything. I mean, there's other super robots out there like the Ava Unit One that is essentially a god, but um, to me that's not. Well, it is, but to me it's not what a super robot is, and the Tengen Toppa does that for me. So that I think that will always be my all-time favorite and all-time favorite Super Robot series. And then as for Real Robot, I think the original Gundam series is great, and it was great for its time. But I think when Iron Blooded Orphans aired, um, it was a fresh take on the real robot genre, and there's been some great series that came along. That shows his release, like the Gundam Thunderbolt series, or I believe I guess Knights of Sidonia would be considered real robot in some cases, right?
Yeah,
Um,
you
but
can make a case for it.
yeah, I mean some cases, right? Um, but no, Iron Blooded Orphans was amazing because there's no super robot to it. There's no beam weaponry. It's just nothing but ammunition and
Well,
robots beating each other up with like essentially metal pipes.
And
Um,
railguns.
and
there
rail
was
and
one
rail.
beam weapon.
Well, one beam weapon, but um, you know, excluding that, uh, it was perfect. It was perfect, and I didn't feel the need that, or I didn't feel that I needed to see beam weaponry or you know nuclear reactor powered Gundams or of that sort. That series to me is probably my favorite real robot series.
Nice. Steve?
So between the two, I tend to favor Real Robot over Super Robot just because I like a much more small scale, gritty. It's all about the struggle, the confrontation, and it seems to be executed a lot easier and a lot more enjoyably for me inside the Real Robot. But when it comes to Super Robot, I grew up on Transformers, Voltron, so I am a sucker for Super Robot, and I have to completely agree with Anthony in that Gurren Lagann probably is the best for Super Robot because it takes all the notes dials them up to 11. And yeah, at times it's making fun of the genre, but it also really highlights what you love about it. Is sometimes I really don't want to think about the mechanics and just grab that other robot, combine up, and just knock out that giant monster that you're fighting. Like, I think it really brought all the fun of Super Robot and put it on display for everybody. So I would definitely say Gurren Lagann is my all-time favorite. To do one of my favorite OGs, I definitely am always going to be a sucker for Mazinger. I had a lot of friends recommend it to me during college, and I watched everything I could get my hands on. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The screaming out of attacks every 5 seconds and all. But it's Super Robot definitely should always be something that any mecha fan is aware of and should have a taste of. Even if it's not for you, it's definitely forever entwined into the mecha genre, and I think it's always worth trying to check out at least some of the series. When it comes to Real Robot, I mean, you could just look at my shelf of model kits and it'll tell you that Gundam is always going to be king for me in Real Robot. But I am also a big fan of Macross, the dog fighting in there, the time that Kawamori put in to really like craft it and try to make it fantastic and real at the same time. Like, I really appreciate that work that he did, and it's always going to be near and dear to me. And one of the ones I always go back to and enjoy, even though Mecha wasn't a giant part of the series, was Full Metal Panic. The mecha fights in there get really nice and gritty, just like with Iron Blooded Orphans. Which, if you haven't watched that, go watch IBO. It's fantastic. I want the gritty, not for like the metal grinding on metal, but for the like, I get tired of one guy being so overpowered. He just click, 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 kills 5 people. I want to see somebody who struggles. I want to see a guy that has to earn the right to become the ace. That's what I really tend to respond to, and I like something that's scaled a lot more believably. And I know beam weapons can be a believable part, but man, does it tend to blow the scaling out of proportion. But I think Gundam handled that well. But I don't know. I really think, like, I wish there were a lot more Real Robots series that got made and a lot more gritty action. It's just, you can't beat that. Thunderbolt, always a good one. I think that highlighted the grit in Gundam really well.
All right. So what I'm hearing is that you are not a fan of the Church of Yamato Christ.
No.
You
No.
don't like Jesus Yamato?
No. I get so bored.
Well,
I got so bored.
First half of Seed Kira was good when he had the strike, because he had to think his way through fights. It's when he got freedom where he was just like, I am a god.
It's to use an analogy that probably everybody, even non-mecha fans and Kamen Rider fans might know, is it's the whole Z Fighter syndrome. The Dragon Ball Z is fantastic, but it also gets kind of boring, because that everybody's going to be nothing but a cheerleader, and Goku's going to have to not just beat the final boss, but the 4 underlings on the way to the final boss. And so, because you create so many useless characters, to me it diminishes the overall impact of what's going on. To not go too far into the weeds, like Bleach kind of started to try and fix that in the manga at the end, and people had these matchups and you got to see other people do something. And for me, when it's a lot more satisfying when the side characters have some meaningful moments and you're not just waiting for the main character, so you'll skip 20 episodes to watch him cut through the last 5 guys. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Right. All right. Well, for me, obviously, Gundam is my first love. So, when it comes to Real Robots, that's what I love. And, Gundam did create the Real Robot genre, so I, gotta put it in there. Like within Gundam, like my favorite series would be 8th MS Team, because that was the realest of real. There was no new type magic going around, bending reality to its whims, So like I thought that was pretty cool, and I love Real Robots because I always like to know, what are they powered by? What are the specs on this thing? What are its limits? Who made it? What's the whole prototype lineage? I can go on like the Gundam wiki. I can spend an hour just looking at the lineage of the GM.
Oh, yeah.
Like seeing all the variants, and like I love finding out about how, like, after the war, when Anaheim Electronics bought out Zim and Zeonic, which is why the Titan suits looked like Zeon stuff. Like the whole tech side behind that. I love that about Real Robots. Whereas opposed to super robots, it's just like what are they powered by? Willpower and friendship, which is cool. But I'm more of a like a numbers and tech guy. But the series and Super Robot that got me to love Super Robot again, because like before it was just Voltron for me, but what got me to love it again was Gurren Lagann. Like when that aired, like I was watching that with a lot of my friends on the forums, and Gurren Lagann felt like more than just a series. It was like an experience that everyone was having at the same time. Like just when they would come out and go Tengen Toppa, Gurren Lagann, like when that part hit, like I was like, bruh, like this is the series. Like I still have the Team Gurren flag like above my door, in my house. Like it was an experience.
And the reason again for me for liking the series so much is because it also, I mean, I guess in some ways you could say it's tokusatsu because it has all the traits of tokusatsu. It's got lights, it's got explosions, it's got friendship, and it has music. As soon as you hear that music in Gurren Lagann, as soon as it starts to play, you know something's about to go down. As soon as you hear that one liner, the believe in me, who believes in you, as soon as you hear that, oh man, you're about to embark on a ride.
Dude, I just got an idea to do a Kamen Rider Model Kit theme like Gurren Lagann now. Uh, uh,
Just who do you think we are?
Yeah. I guess really quick, is there any other honorable mentions that you probably thought up of as we were talking? Because for me, for Real Robot, an honorable mention would be I'll Know a Zero.
Oh yeah, I was
Because
just thinking that.
because it also reminded me of Iron Blood Orphans, but it also had like a different take to it because this was Earth. Now this is Earth versus Mars versus Earth. But yeah, I'll Know Zero's up there for me definitely. And then for Super Robot, this is the underdog for me. And maybe there might be some people that'll hate on it, but I personally loved Valve Rave.
Yo, so did I.
Season 1 and season 2, they're both kind of wacky, but I mean that's Super Robot. They're just
Yeah.
supposed to be wacky. So Valve Rave is I like I like it.
Valkyrie was pretty cool. Like, once you get past that one controversial scene in the beginning.
There's several controversial scenes, but
Yeah,
yeah, if you get past all those,
yeah,
it's good. It's fun.
Definitely an honorable mention for me would be Majestic Prince.
Majestic Prince is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, to me that was really good. I wish there was full kits of the whole cast, the core cast, and the mass-produced suits because I really enjoyed the designs. The main character was hilarious. But yeah, that'd be one of my honorable mentions.
For me, it'd be.
Yep.
Go ahead again.
No, you go first.
Well, so like, for me, I guess it would be. Well, it's weird because Evangelion, kind of like what you were saying, Anthony. It's not really Super Robot because what Eva is it's an organic clone being that has mechanical restraints on it so that they can basically it's like controlling a horse with reins. So
Yep.
it's not technically a robot.
Well, I mean, for me, I still define it as a super robot. I just don't think that it beats like the Gurren Lagann, and it is because it transcends above everything known to man because it becomes a god. But then if you were to put Ava versus Tengen Toppa, a god versus or a godlike being versus a universal, essentially god, who would win there, right?
Well, so here's the thing. So Ava Unit 1 is a god, has infinite power, can do whatever. However, through willpower and friendship, Gurren Lagann can pierce even that.
Yeah.
His is the drill. His is the drill that will pierce the heavens.
Exactly. So who would win there? I always choose Gurren Lagann.
Yeah, he can throw galaxies. He can take the thing that Ava Unit 1 is existing in and chuck it like a shuriken.
But like even then, like because again, the Ava is a god, so it'll probably transcend like being thrown galaxies at.
Right.
But
the sheer fact that pass even that.
The sheer fact that they mention we will pierce the heavens, I don't doubt it. Like, I don't doubt that they can pierce through the heavens and kill a god.
Right. Like I feel like Gurren Lagann is like the mecha form of like freaking All Might fused with like Goku. It can do whatever it needs. It doesn't even matter.
Exactly. As long as there's friendship, the Gurren Lagann will do it.
Bro, could you imagine though? Kamen Rider Forza piloting Gurren Lagann.
Oh yeah, the drill would
It,
the
it
ultimate
wouldn't
friendship
would-
drill.
it wouldn't even be a drill. It would just straight up turn into his rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah. No. And then let's see. Like for real robot, what would be my honorable mention, man? There's so much out there, but
Like
Oh.
Gundam is everywhere, but like when you
Yeah.
find those like other series outside of Gundam, like Al Noah Zero, Knights of Sidonia, um, it kind of gets a little bit hard. I mean, I guess you could kind of you can
I mean-
make a case for Macross.
all right. Now, here's a question though. Where do you guys think about Zoids?
I
I
like
enjoy
Zoids.
Zoids.
But
No, but do you think Zoids is more real or more super or like a
I think
combination?
I think it depends on the series. So I'd say a combination, because there's some Zoid series out there that are ridiculous, and then there's the original series where Liger Zero is I guess you could consider it a real robot.
Right, but like sometimes like at least for like a Zero, like he seems like he's low key alive. Like
Yeah, I mean that's why you can make a case for it, but yeah,
Well,
kind of.
I'm checking a list for that, and believe it or not, they labeled Zoids under the super robot category.
yeah,
Well, I mean
that makes sense.
that's why I mean you can make a case for it because of how many series there are, and I think after I it's been a long time since I've seen the first series, but I know there's been many other series where those mechs are now super robot level.
Yeah,
Like
the escalation.
yeah, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
You guys remember IGPX?
I
Yeah,
do.
Immortal
Dude,
Grand
I
Prix.
was thinking about that, but I figured no one else would know about it. But yeah,
I
I
did.
love IGPX.
I liked it. It's just racing robots. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Racing, fighting robots.
You guys remember that one, but do you guys remember those 5-minute shorts right before like an anime started on Toonami?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wait, we're talking about the IGPX Grand Prix series, right? Or the other IGPX? Because I watched the Grand Prix series.
So I'm talking about both actually. So I know
Okay.
I know a majority of us remember the Grand Prix, but I remember the 5-minute short when it popped up in Toonami back in the day.
Possibly.
Because there was that, and then if I I was under the impression that the video was gonna be much shorter. I didn't think we were gonna get so in depth on our all of our mentions and all that. But I think I'm gonna throw in there real quick. If everybody remembered the Super Robot games, and the amount of favorite mechs in those, I think.
Well, yeah,
for
the
me,
Arbalist, hands down.
that man, I think for me, I think what other ones that stood out for me, Gunbuster, Dan Kuga, Grandizer. Shoot, what else? I was surprised you actually didn't mention it at the Eureka 7.
Oh yeah, the Nirvash. Well, I like the Eureka 7 series, but not as much as Tengen Toppa.
Yeah, because you got that, at least for some other mentions for me that stuck out. And then also kind of tagging on to Steve's comment about Macross. I know if you like Macross as a whole. For me, Macross Plus stood out, at least for my childhood at that point, just because I remember I had an old VHS recording of Macross Plus and Macross 2, and I just rewatched those like crazy growing up.
Oh, to me, Macross Plus is easily one of the top 3 of all the Macross series. Like the amount of stuff going on for a series that's set as like you're gonna you're gonna be the test pilot for an experimental Valkyrie. Oh, okay. And then all the stuff with the past and him and his friend and the other girl happening, the AI, like it takes something that feels almost like a drama series and then goes, all right, now we're about to flush this into hell, and everybody's going to feel the reality in front of them. Like watching that and how the relationship plays out, how he doesn't want to talk about what really happened because of what that will do to his friend that can't even remember because he can't, stay micro without can't be like the half breed in the micro form without dealing with the rage out that Zentradi goes. Like there's so many things happening there, and they still have great mecha action, and the fight at the end still punches me in the feels every time. Like I love that's what I enjoy about especially Macross Plus, but Macross in general, I just really enjoy the mecha combat because it takes what I love about fighter planes and dials it up into mecha.
Well, it's the series that revolutionized. There's a name for it, but the missile shower.
Yes.
It's the first series that revolutionized that, and so if you ever see any other robot series or super robot series where it's just a shower of missiles, you know where it came from.
Oh yeah.
Well, was it? I guess so, because you could also, because Gunbuster kind of did the same thing.
To me, it did one of the best weapon unload spectacles. Because
Yeah.
even with like the fleet engagements, when the entire Zentradi fleet all opens up at once, the entire like stream and shower of charged particles flying, then the missile barrages coming in, like dude, that whole grand spectacle. Macross is one of the best ones that did it.
I think we have to admit though that both Super Robot and Real Robots is that all of these like iconic scenes that stick to our memories. It's helped by like the amazing tracks and songs that we've heard growing up watching these, or at least even like experiencing for the first time and all that. Like those just sell how those get stuck with us.
Absolutely, especially when you get to the late '80s, early '90s, the blending of music to the moment. Oh, it's so good, and a lot of studios still know that that's how you can really keep something in a person's memory. Like especially with Gurren Lagann, like you said, when that music starts pumping, you're like, "Here we go, it's go time."
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think also have to also bring up Galgagar is golden. Oh my god.
Nice. Well, guys, feel free to let us know down below in the comments, what are your favorite real robots and favorite super robots? And, keep an eye out. We will be putting out a survey for you guys to let us know your thoughts officially. There should be a link down there as well. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be having more and more regular content across all our social media, both on Team Rider and on Bluefin Brands. We are going to do our best to keep you guys preoccupied and happy during the end of the world.
Thank you, everybody.
Believe in me who believes in
Thank
you.
Until next time, guys. See you later. Believe in me that believes in you.
Don't believe